Welcome back to the Mike and Andrew Show. I'm Andrew Serwick here again with Mike Meredith. Mike, how are you doing this evening?
Pretty good, man. Another fine Thursday evening.
Yes, sir. Let's get right into it, man. We got a lot to talk about, but first we're going to talk about some NFL. Right now, about to kick off in about 15 minutes from us. We got the Jags and the Saints playing. Jacksonville is a 2.5 point underdog in this one. So yeah, very interesting game. I think Jacksonville will end up actually winning this one. I know they're not favored, but I think Jacksonville just overall they have a better team. I know Trevor Lawrence is a little banged up, which is never a good thing that you want out of your quarterback. But I just don't trust the Saints defense at all. So I'm gonna go with Jacksonville in this one.
Yeah, I think so as well. I'm going to go with Jacksonville. Yeah, I'm shocked they're not favoring this. I mean, um, definitely got the better team, but like you said, Lawrence is dealing with some stuff. But I just trust Jacksonville more right now to win on the road than I do New Orleans to win. So I'm going to go with Jacksonville.
And let's make something perfectly clear here. It's not like both these teams are world beaters, and it's not like Jacksonville's, this elite level team, but they do have the better team, just slightly though. But they're dealing with some injuries, and Saints are at home, so maybe that gives them a slight advantage. But I don't know. But yeah, I think Jags win this one. Lions go on the road to Baltimore. Baltimore is a 3 point favorite in this one. But here's the thing: Baltimore is just coming back from London this week, so their bodies have been thrown off with that. They're still dealing with a lot of things, a lot of injuries, but their defense is really, really good still. So I'd be interested to see just how well Lions offense performs. I do think Lions are going to win this one, but I think this is going to be a very, very close game. I don't trust Lamar at all still, but I just think that the Ravens defense is really good. So this might be the first real test of the Lions offense this year.
Yeah, I think the Lions are going to take this one as well. I'm rolling with them. It's going to be really close. Again, I could see this game going to overtime or even just a game-winning drive by the Lions. It's going to be a close game for sure. Definitely their toughest test since Seattle. So we'll see how they can compare again with Baltimore coming back from London and Detroit, man, seeing if they can keep it rolling.
Yeah, I think just if Detroit can keep it rolling, do what they've been doing, they could win this game very easily. But the Ravens defense is really good, and they're still dealing with that travel. But yeah, this is gonna be a very close game, very good game, I think. The Browns go into Indianapolis. They're a 3 point favorite in this one. The Colts did not play very well last week. The Browns defense has been really, really good so far this year. They're definitely a top five defense. Um, I am going to take the Browns in this one. They have the better team all around. I think. Gardner Minshew, he's a decent enough backup to be able to do something still. But without Anthony Richardson, I think the Colts offense is in big trouble. So I'm going to take Cleveland in this one, especially just considering how good their defense is, and they're coming off a bye week. So
I think that this is a very close game. I think Indianapolis puts up a solid fight against Cleveland, but I think Cleveland's going to take this one. Yeah, Anthony Richardson's out for the season now. They've confirmed with surgery here, so Gardner Minshew for the rest of the year. So we'll see how he does. But yeah, Cleveland, coming off that huge win against the 49ers, so we'll have to see how they can keep going. But man, that's got to be big.
yeah, it's going to be interesting for sure. But yeah, I think Cleveland wins this one. Bills go. Uh, they're on the road against New England. They're favored by 8.5 in this one. Look, the Patriots have been awful on both sides of the ball. Mac Jones is fucking horrible. Their defense is really bad. And the Bills, while they have struggled in some games, I think they obviously have a much better team. Uh, so yeah, I'm going with the Bills in this one. I think they cover as well.
Patriots about to go 1-6, man. Who would have thought we'd see the day finally? The Bills, I mean, unless something crazy happens, they're going to win this game. They're just got such a better team than the Patriots. They are awful.
Yeah, they really are just horrible this year, and yeah, there's just I think the Bills just are gonna really blow them out in this one. The Giants host the Commanders. Washington favored by 2.5 in this one. Um, Look, this is going to be a really gritty game. I think the Commanders are they're just an average team. They're not anything special. The Giants have been really really bad. They did keep it kind of close with Buffalo this past week, but man, I don't know what is like what to pick here because I can't really trust the Commanders to win games that they should. Um, but I can trust them to at least come close to winning games that they shouldn't. But I'm gonna go with the Commanders here. Um, I think they do have just a slightly better team, but man, I don't know, man. The Giants at home and the Commanders aren't really a trustworthy team. I could see the Giants winning this one.
Yeah, the Commanders are always up and down, but I got to take them over the Giants. I mean, Giants just, I think they have, a bigger chance of not doing anything on either side of the ball. The Commanders at least can maybe score a little bit and play a little bit of defense. So I'll take the Commanders in this one.
The Bears host the Raiders. Vegas is favored by 2.5 here. But no Jimmy G this week, so you're. I don't know who's going to be in at quarterback for the Raiders, but their defense is pretty decent, and obviously Justin Fields is just the worst quarterback in the league right now. The Bears' offensive line is shit. Their defense is shit. I'm going to take the Raiders in this one. Even without Jimmy G, I still think they could pull this off.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Raiders as well. I do think that the game will be closer, and not just because Jimmy G's out, but just the Raiders are also not that great themselves. But Max Crosby will get after Justin Fields this game. Justin Fields is not going to be able to have a lot of success being pressured because that offensive line is horrible as well. So I don't think they're going to be able to stop him. So I think that makes up the difference for uh, the Raiders maybe not being as strong on offense this game. Defense will come out and the Bears offense will just fold. So I'm gonna go with the Raiders.
Tampa Bay hosts Atlanta. Tampa Bay is a 2.5 point favorite in this one. Uh, Look, the Falcons' offense is horrible. The Buccaneers' defense is really good. Their offense is going to obviously want to be looking to bounce back after a tough loss, being held only to 6 points against the Lions last week. So yeah, I'm going to take the Bucks in this one. I think everything, they're at home. They're the better team on paper by a long shot. They have a competent QB, and they're looking to bounce back. I'm taking the Bucks in this one.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with Tampa Bay as well. The Falcons, I was about higher on them at the start of the year compared to now. We're sort of, at like that quarter or almost the halfway mark coming up soon. Definitely not as high on them anymore. I think that Desmond Shitterman is an awful QB, bottom five in the league. Baker's okay. I mean, didn't too well last week, but we'll see how he does. That Tampa defense, though, is just gonna really be problems for Atlanta. So I think that Tampa will win this one.
And the thing is too is that the Tampa defense likes to blitz a lot, and Atlanta's offensive line is not very good against blitzing. I mean, they're not even good against just a 4-man rush. and Desmond Ridder under pressure is fucking horrible. So yeah, I think the Bucks are definitely going to win this one by quite a bit. The Rams host the Steelers. Rams are only favored by 3 in this one, oddly enough. I'm going to take the Rams here. I think they more than cover. You know, their defense has a lot of questions, but so does the Steelers. But the Rams' offense is just a lot more explosive, especially now with Cooper Kupp being back. And he had a really big game this past week. Stafford's been playing very well, so I think the Rams are going to win this one. I think they cover as well.
Yeah, I'm going with the Rams to cover as well. Steelers, they just don't have any offense. I mean, I know the Rams' defense hasn't been that crazy this year, but Matt Canada's been in the news that he's been not well looked upon in Pittsburgh. Kenny Pickett's not great. I think that Stafford and Kupp and that offense is just going to be too much for the Steelers to handle.
Yeah, I just their defense is not very good, and yeah, I can't trust Kenny Pickett either in tough games like this. I know the Rams defense isn't that great either, but their offense is a lot better than Pittsburgh's, so I think that's what it's going to come down to. Seattle hosts Arizona. They're an 8-point favorite in this one. I'm picking a lot of favorites this week, man, but it's just it makes sense to. The Seahawks, I think, are going to win this one. The Cardinals are fucking horrible. They're not as bad as the Bears, I think, but they're damn close. And yeah, Seattle's offense is very productive. So yeah, I think the Seahawks definitely win this one.
Yeah, so we have agreed so far on every pick, and I think it's got to continue. I mean, I can't pick the Cardinals, man. I mean, I don't have any faith in them winning, so I think Seattle wins this one. I think they'll bounce back after that loss to Cincinnati.
Yeah, it's I think a bounce back week for Seattle as well. Denver hosts the Packers. Packers are favored by 1 in this one. I can't trust the Broncos defense, but I can't trust the Packers defense. Jordan Love is ass. Russ is washed. They're like this is gonna be a very, very low scoring game, I think. I mean, this is just 2 really bad teams, really bad defenses with really bad offenses. The over under for some reason is 45. I don't think we're even gonna get close to that. But I'm actually gonna pick Denver to win this one. I know the Broncos are a big meme, especially after getting having 70 put on them by Miami. But I just road Jordan Love is really bad, and I think the Broncos are they have the home field advantage, so I think that's really the only advantage anyone has in this game because both teams are just so bad.
Yeah, I think though I am going to go with the Packers on this one. I can't pick the Broncos, man. I'll trust road Jordan Love over washed Russ any day, man. Especially because Russ has been this way for 2 years now. It's like, yeah, I can't trust the Broncos. They are at home, so that'll give them some advantage there. But I'm going to go with the Packers on this one.
Yeah, I know. Look, I can see the Packers easily winning this one, but I don't know, man. I just really cannot trust road Jordan Love at all. Chiefs are hosting the Chargers. They're a 5.5-point favorite in this one, and 5-point favorites. That's the devil's number. I'm gonna roll with the Chargers in this one. Their defense is really good. Something's just not right with the Chiefs' offense. Patrick Mahomes he's not been able to connect really at all this year. And he's not making those spectacular plays against really bad defenses. So yeah, I'm gonna go with the Chargers in this one. They have a really good defense. Their offense outside of Herbert isn't the greatest, but I think the Chargers are gonna pull up a big upset this week.
Man, I gotta disagree with you, man. I can't put no faith in the Chargers, man. I'm going the Chiefs here. Just the Chargers, they don't win the games they should. They don't win the games that are big games like prime time against big teams. They just fold under that pressure every time. So I think that they have a good chance of winning this one and being upset. But I think that they're going to find a way to squander it. So I'm going to go with the Chiefs.
But I just something just is not right with Kansas City right now. I don't even think they're a top 3 team in the AFC right now. That's just how bad their offense really has looked so far to start the year. Just low scoring against really bad defenses. So I mean, outside of Chicago, they haven't gone over 30 points. So I mean, it's just something's not right, and I don't know what it is. So I think the Chargers, with their really good defense, could pull off this upset. Sunday night, Eagles host the Dolphins. Philly's favored by 2.5. I'm going with another upset here. I think the Dolphins are going to win. Things have not looked well for Philly the last 3 weeks now. They just lost to the Jets, granted on some very bad play calling, but that's a game that, if your offense is that good, and your defense is good enough, you should be blowing out the Jets. But the Jets were in it. Yes, I know the Jets have a really, really good defense, but their offense is so bad, and you allowed them to even be within sniffing distance of you. So I don't know. I think the Dolphins are going to win this one. Their offense is explosive, but they haven't performed that well on the road, so maybe that's the one thing holding me back from picking them, but I'm still going to take the Dolphins.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with the Dolphins too. I know the Eagles are at home, so that helps them in this big heavyweight battle. But Eagles just don't look as good. Kind of like what you were saying with Kansas City. Just Eagles don't look as strong this year as they did in years past. I think Miami's offense is too good, and I think that Miami wins this one.
Yeah, something just hasn't been right with the Eagles this year. Well, at least to start the season, they looked really good, and then it's just kind of the last few weeks they just looked really bad, and I don't see anything changing this week, especially with a very tough team in Miami. And then lastly, Monday night, the Vikings host the Niners. San Francisco just a 7-point favorite in this one. Niners coming off a bad loss last week. Vikings are still trying to fight for something in the division, although I think they're completely out of the division race by now. I think the Niners are going to win this one. Kirk Cousins in the spotlight, he turns into a pumpkin. So he's not gonna win this game because he's Kirk Cousins. The Niners are gonna bounce back. They have a really elite level defense, and their offense can just do what they've done all season, just dink and dunk on this Vikings defense all day.
Yeah, with the Chargers being, have the reputation of choking in big games, Kirk Cousins might have a worse reputation. Like, that man always folds in prime times. So, 49ers, they got to have a nice comeback. I do think that most of, if not all of their players that were hurt are going to be back this week. I think that they're going to be back on time for recovery. It's a Monday night game, so I think the 49ers are going to take this one.
Yeah, there's just no way. And I think you're right. I think Kirk Cousins has a bigger problem choking in the spotlight than the Chargers. So, that wraps up your preview for this weekend's NFL. We're gonna get into college football now. We're going to save one game for last intentionally because it's going to help us segue into our next segment. But the big game I think everyone's really talking about this week is number 3 Ohio State is hosting number 7 Penn State. OSU is a 4.5-point favorite in this one. I got Penn State in this one. I think their defense is really, really good. It's definitely a top 5 defense. And OSU's offense just there's just something that doesn't look right. Kyle McCord hasn't really been all too fantastic. A lot of bad reads on his part. Some bad balls thrown. Their run game hasn't really been all too effective. And their defense blows. So I'm taking Penn State. I know their offense isn't that great. But Ohio State's defense isn't that great either.
Yeah, I'm going with Penn State as well. I think though, man, this one I think it's a lot closer than I think you think the game will be. I think you think Penn State's for sure going to run away with the game at some point. But I think, man, this might come down to the last possession or a field goal or something like that, man. I think that this game is tight all the way through. I could definitely see Ohio State winning that. They're one of those teams that seem to get lucky and win last minute, like usual, like in the Alabama type team. So definitely could happen. But I think I'm gonna roll with Penn State, man. Hopefully they can ride the momentum that they've been carrying all season.
Yeah, I think, I think this will be a close game. I never said I don't think, Penn State will run away with it, but I think you will see like Penn State by like 10, maybe a little bit less than that, but I think at the bare minimum Penn State by a touchdown. Oklahoma hosts UCF. Oklahoma's a 17.5 point favorite. They're 6-0. They beat Texas, who's still back, by the way. And UCF is trash, man. I'm gonna go with Oklahoma in this one. I think that's a pretty easy pick.
Yeah, it's an easy pick. I mean, UCF is not beating Oklahoma, so knowing I just said that Oklahoma was probably going to lose now, but
Right.
yeah, I don't think there's any chance that Oklahoma loses this game.
No, there's just no way. UCF blows, man. I've watched some of their games. They just suck. Navy hosts number 22 Air Force. They finally got into the rankings. We discussed this a little bit on Tuesday's episode. Air Force is favored by 10.5 in this one. And look, I gotta agree. Air Force has just been rolling through everyone this year, no problem. They've been obviously, the Mountain West Conference isn't that strong, but they've been rolling through their opponents, which is pretty hard to do at any conference level. But yeah, I got Air Force in this one. Navy just isn't really that good. So yeah, go Air Force.
Yeah, Air Force, man. Aren't they ranked now?
Yeah, they're number 22 now.
Yeah, so I mean, they definitely have performed a lot better than I thought they would. I'm going to take them as well over Navy. I mean, they've just been playing better. They've dominated the games they needed to, and they've done what they've needed to do. So I'm going to take them.
Yeah, they're undefeated. Navy's 3-3. I love these military bowl games because they're always just fun to watch. But yeah, no, I think Air Force definitely wins this one. Number 9, Oregon hosts Washington State. Oregon's favored by 20 in this one. I'm gonna roll with Oregon. I don't think they cover though. Their defense isn't that great. It's a lot better than Washington State's. But Washington State's offense is really good still. But Oregon's offense is also really good, and home Bo Nix is a lot better than a road Bo Nix. So yeah, I think Oregon wins this one, probably by about 2 scores at the very most. I don't think they're gonna hit that 20-point spread.
Yeah, I think that Washington State, I mean, they got to bounce back after that embarrassing performance against Arizona. So I think they will cover, but I do think Oregon is going to handle this one. I think that they'll probably win by 2 touchdowns, and Bo Nix will have a better performance here at home. But yeah.
Number 11, Bama hosts number 17, Tennessee. Bama favored by 9.5. Look, you and I are both big Bama haters, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like we absolutely hate Bama, but look, I can't see Tennessee winning this one. They have to run the ball because Joe Milton is just that bad. He's got a cannon that he tries to throw to the receiver at the numbers, and he puts it like at the hash. He's just so inaccurate. They have to run the ball, and Bama's pretty good against the run. Yeah, I think Bama wins this one. I don't know if they cover it. I think it's going to be a close game, but man, Tennessee they have very, very bad quarterback play this year, so I think Bama's going to win this.
Yeah, I want to go with Tennessee, man, but I really haven't heard much enough about like them being on upset alert for this game to really beat Bama. So Bama's probably gonna end up winning, but I would love to see Tennessee do it, man.
Like my heart tells me to pick Tennessee because fuck Bama, but my brain says there's just no way.
Yeah, didn't they beat Bama when they had Hendon Hooker on the team?
Yeah, I think they did. I'd have
Yeah.
to go back and look, but I'm pretty sure they did. Um, but yeah, I just yeah. Look, the heart says Tennessee, the brain says Bama. So yeah, I think Bama wins this one. Number 20, Missouri hosts South Carolina. They are favored by 7.5. Look, Spencer Rattler's dog ass. Missouri's defense is really good. Their offense has been very productive as well. Yeah, I'm rolling with Missouri in this one. South Carolina's just fucking horrible, man.
Yeah. Uh, I'm gonna go with Missouri as well. South Carolina hasn't done much of anything. Uh, so yeah.
Number 23, Tulane hosts North Texas. Tulane's a 20-point favorite in this one. Now, I don't know a whole lot about North Texas. I do know Tulane's offense is really good, especially for a Group of Five school. They could actually kind of compete with some of these Power Five schools. Um, their defense has a couple question marks on it, but Tulane, I think they're going to roll through North Texas here. I mean, I don't know much about North Texas at all, but I know Tulane's pretty good, so I'm just gonna roll with my gut here and pick Tulane. They're 20-point favorites. They might cover. We'll just have to see. Like I said, I don't know much about North Texas, but I'm gonna pick Tulane for sure to win at least.
Yeah, I don't know much at all about North Texas, so I'm gonna go with Tulane as well on this one.
Number 24, Iowa hosts Minnesota. Iowa just a 3.5 point favorite in this one. Um, Look, Iowa's offense blows. Minnesota's offense blows. Iowa's defense is really good. Minnesota's defense, not so much. I think this is gonna be like a really, really, really low scoring game. I think we're gonna see like a final score of like 10-7. This is just a recipe for something stupidly slow scoring for that. I think I saw like the over under. It's at 30.5. I don't even know if it's gonna come close to that, man.
Yeah, I do think that Iowa will win, but it's like, man, I just see with the offense, it's so horrible. I know Roy can't tell if they're going to put up 10 points or, you know, doubt they put up anything above 25. It's like just so bad. But I think Iowa will win.
Yeah, I think Iowa wins this, but it's gonna be super low scoring. Number 8, Texas is on the road to Houston, a 23.5 point favorite in that one. Look, I'm still gonna say it. Texas is back, man. Despite the loss to Oklahoma, look, Houston's just not very good. Texas, one of the best teams in the country. I think Texas wins this one very handedly.
I mean, yeah, they're a 20-point favorite. Um, I mean, easy pick here for Texas.
I mean, Quinn Ewers is playing out of his mind this year. He's actually taking football seriously this year in his last year. So, yeah, Texas definitely wins this one. Number 10, North Carolina hosts Virginia. Virginia's just 1-5. They're one of the worst teams of the ACC. North Carolina's a 23.5 point favorite in this one. Virginia's horrible against the pass, especially. And you have Drake May on your team, who's basically a cheat code. North Carolina wins this one. They definitely cover as well. Virginia's just so bad. I just can't see North Carolina not putting up more than 24 over them.
Yeah, North Carolina. I mean, Drake May is going to dominate like always. Again, when you're up by over 20 in these spreads for college, it's pretty difficult to lose. I mean, unless there's a really big upset. I'm going to go with North Carolina here.
Yeah, it is very hard when you're a 20-point dog to lose, but I mean to win. But yeah, it's just no. There's just no way Virginia's defense is even going to come close to stopping Drake May. Auburn hosts number 13 Ole Miss. Ole Miss is favored by 6.5 in this one. Look, they have a really explosive offense. Maybe one of the best in the country. Um, Auburn has Peyton Thorne, so that's an automatic loss. So yeah, Ole Miss is winning this one.
Yeah, I got Ole Miss too, man. Peyton Thorne, even on Michigan State, wasn't great.
No, and yeah, it just is like Auburn's defense is actually fairly decent, but no, there's just no way they beat Ole Miss here. I could see it upset, because maybe their defense steps up against Ole Miss's offense, but their offense is just so good that I don't think Auburn's even going to come close to scoring enough points to come close to Ole Miss. Number 4, Florida State hosts number 16, Duke. Florida State's a 14.5 point favorite in this one. They've been rolling now after a couple, struggling weeks. I'm going to take Florida State though. While Duke has been pretty good and pretty surprising this season, I don't think they're at that level yet of Florida State or North Carolina to really be able to compete in this conference. But unless their head coach gets poached by MSU, spoiler alert, I just don't think that Duke's gonna win this one at all. So yeah, I'm gonna take Florida State.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Florida State as well. I do think that they're still one of the very top teams in the country, one of the top powerhouses. So I think that while Duke is ranked and they've had some success beating Clemson this year, I'm taking Florida State.
Yeah, look. If just to get sidetracked real quick here, I would, if you're an MSU fan, you might want to be looking at Mike Elko, the coach of Duke, and he might be your next coach next year. We don't know yet, but we'll just have to wait and see. Number 19, LSU hosts a 2-4 Army team. LSU is favored by 32 in this one. Yeah, LSU, they're definitely winning. There's just not even a debate. Army's defense blows. They try to run the ball. They can't do anything on offense. LSU is just gonna absolutely wipe the floor with Army.
Yeah, they definitely are. LSU, one of the top scoring teams for sure in the country. They are easily going to win this one.
Yeah, LSU's defense might be kind of ass, but it's Army's offense is so bad. So yeah, they're gonna win no problem. Number 18, USC hosts number 14, Utah. USC's a 7-point favorite in this one. USC coming off a really bad loss to Notre Dame. Last week it was not a very good performance at all from Caleb Williams. Possibly a ending his Heisman bid game, but I don't think that's necessarily true. I'm going to take Utah to upset USC, though. USC's defense blows, and Utah's offense is pretty good. Their defense is really good. I think Utah will win this one, though.
I think that this is one of the closest games this week. I think it's another high-scoring game. But I think I'm going to go with you as well. I think Utah, I can't trust that USC defense. Caleb Williams, I do think will bounce back, though, and have a solid game. It's going to be a good one, though. I will go with Utah, too, in the upset.
Utah's very physical on both sides of the ball. USC's defense is allergic to tackling. So yeah, I don't see a way USC wins this one. I think it's going to be a close, high-scoring game. But yeah, I think it will come down to the wire. I don't think Utah will cover that 7.5 or that 7-point spread, but I do think they will win at least. Number 5, Washington hosts Arizona State. Obviously, Washington coming off a big emotional high of winning over Oregon last week. They're a 26.5-point favorite. I heard some rumblings that this is upset alert from Arizona State. I don't think that's anything, I don't think that's any true. I know Washington's coming off one of those very, big emotional wins, which in college football can get you in a trap. But against a really, really bad team, I don't think it gets you into that trap. So I'm taking Washington in this one, and they definitely cover.
Yeah, Washington for sure. I don't see Arizona State upset anyone. So Washington's one of my top teams right now. I love their team and what they do each and every week. So Washington's going to win this one.
Yeah, their offense is so good. I think Michael Penix is probably the best quarterback in the country right now. Arizona State's defense is trash. So yeah, I know the emotional high stuff in college football can get you, mixed up the week after, but there's just no way. Stanford hosts number 25 UCLA. UCLA is a 17-point favorite in this one. Stanford coming off a really big win against Colorado, upset win after being down 29 to nothing at halftime. UCLA is going to win this one. I know they had a really bad game last week. Dante Moore played very, very bad, but I think UCLA is going to bounce back. Stanford still blows. I know they beat Colorado, who allegedly is a good team, but I don't see that. But yeah, I think UCLA is definitely going to win this one.
Yeah, I mean, Stanford, while having that big upset win last week, UCLA isn't Colorado. They're not going to choke a big lead. Uh, UCLA is going to win this one.
Yeah, there's just no way, man. I think UCLA is just definitely looking to bounce back after last week, and while Stanford, had the good win last week, they're just not a competitive team at all. And lastly, the Paul Bunyan Trophy. Michigan State hosts number 2 Michigan. Michigan's a 24-point favorite in this one. Yeah, look, Michigan's going to knock Michigan State out. I mean, this is a really bad Michigan State team. Michigan, obviously one of the best teams in the country on both sides of the ball. Although we might have different reasons for that now, considering what came out today with Michigan. But Michigan definitely is going to win this game. I know Michigan State plays them hard. This is basically like the Natty for Michigan State this year. They got nothing to lose. This is going to be a very, very gritty game, but I think Michigan blows the doors off Michigan State.
Yeah, everyone going to this game, man, is just going to get plastered drunk and just no one's going for the game this year. Like, everyone knows Michigan's going to win this one. I do hope Michigan State doesn't get blown out, like, by 40. Hopefully they at least make it somewhat respectable. Lose with some pride. I mean, come on, Michigan State. At least lose by 2 touchdowns or something. But yeah, like you said, man, this is like the big game of the year for them. Rivalry games are, I mean, nothing is put past rivalry games, no matter how bad one team is in college football. Those games always seem to be closer than everyone thinks. So I don't know how confident I feel about Michigan State to cover, but I'm hoping they can.
I'm a Michigan fan, so I'm a little biased here. I'm trying not to be, but I think Michigan's just gonna rip you guys' head off, man. There's just no way. Michigan State's defense is so bad. Their offensive line is MAC caliber. Everything for Michigan is gonna go its way this weekend. I mean, there's just Michigan State's defense cannot stop this offense, and likewise, Michigan State's offense. I don't even know if they're gonna get anything past a 3 and out because their offense is just so bad. But on to what came out today with Michigan. Michigan has been accused of stealing signs, by visiting future opponents and video recording team signs, team signals, which it's not illegal to steal signals, but the way they're doing it is, or allegedly doing it is, look, it's just one of those things where I see a lot of Michigan's fans' reactions, and they're acting like children. They really are acting like children. They're trying to point out that other teams cheat. Oh, other teams do it too. Okay, no. First of all, if other teams were doing this would have came out years ago with another team doing it. This is the first time any team has done this, or alleged to have done it, right? It's just, can we just grow up as Michigan fans? Like, Jim Harbaugh is not a saint. Why are we trying to act like everything that this man is accused of doing is false? Why can't we just grow up, be adults, and be like, okay, yeah, our coach cheated. So what? It's not like, the end of the world. I don't get it, man. I don't know, man. This is just ridiculous from what I've seen from the fan base of Michigan, and I'm a Michigan fan. I know that other coaches cheat. But here's the thing, is that we got caught cheating. We need to at least own up to it. Stop trying to blame other teams, saying, oh, look, this team cheated. Oh, this team cheated. I don't care. They they haven't been caught doing it, so it is what it is. And it goes back too, because like Jim Harbaugh was already under investigation this summer. He still technically is about having recruits on campus during a COVID dead period. Not allowed to have recruits on campus. And Michigan fans were like, "Oh, it was just a cheeseburger. It's just a cheeseburger." Fuck that. That's not it's not relevant. You had recruits on campus when you're not supposed to. Like, why do we always try to change the narrative of what it was? Like, I don't get it with some of these Michigan fans, man. Like, but what's your thoughts on what came out today?
Yeah, so I honestly didn't really hear much on this story, but I wouldn't say like shocked, but like you said, how you think that how this would have came up already if another team had done it. I mean, teams all the time are trying to get a leg up doing something, man. So whether it's stealing signs or the whole Deflategate situation with the Patriots a few years ago, I feel like teams are always trying to find a way to get as much of an advantage as they can. Even like you said with Harbaugh taking recruits on campus, and that was a big problem in college basketball too, with recruits and them being influenced and paid before NIL was a thing to come to certain schools by coaches. So it's definitely a tough situation to see Michigan in a predicament like this. Hopefully this doesn't affect their reputation moving forward, because I mean, this comes out as a big scandal. This could affect their recruiting for the future here. So we'll have to see how everything kind of plays out with it.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of fallout from this, no matter what. But I just don't understand why we always got to change the narrative. Like we got caught cheating. It's not the end of the world, We can't just pretend like oh well this team cheated. I don't care. We got caught cheating, so we should own up to it. Look, at the very worst, they're just gonna do what they did with Auburn with Cam Newton, and they're just gonna vacate. If Michigan even wins the national championship, they're just probably gonna vacate it. Like it doesn't do any of the other teams any favors if they do that. We still have the memories that hey, we won the Natty, but I just the fan reaction has just been terrible, and it's like you guys would not be acting this way as if it was if this was news coming out of Columbus or East Lansing or from Penn State. It would not be the same reaction from these Michigan fans. They'd be calling for these coaches to get fired and all this shit. So it's just like, why do we gotta try to change the narrative of what happened? Like, can't we just accept like Jim Harbaugh is not a good person? I mean, he's really not. He's done a lot of bad things at Michigan. Hiring a racist without a background check, having a recruits on campus when they're not supposed to be on campus. Now this, you had one of your assistant coaches, logging into students' computers and shit. So it's just like, and we try to cover it up every single time. It's just like it's kind of ridiculous how we try to brush all this stuff under the rug as fans. And I'm calling out all the Michigan fans to change how they think on these things, because it's really just embarrassing that we can't accept that Jim Harbaugh is not really a good person, and to be honest with you, really no good college coach. Any of the good college coaches aren't good people. Let's just leave it at that for So quit trying to act like Jim Harbaugh is a saint, because he's not. Just accept that he cheated, and if we win the Natty, it doesn't matter, right? I just want to win as Michigan. I don't care if we cheat, as long as we win the Natty. And I'm sure every single fan from any of the fan base, if you told them like if your coach cheated but you won the Natty, would you care? Pretty sure most of them would say no, man.
Yeah, man, no one's gonna care, and unless it's like a scandal like Houston Astros or something like that. Like, I mean, they'll be all right. I mean, like we were saying, like you said about Columbus, or it came out of Penn State. Like,
the whole fucking Jerry Sandusky fucking shit, man. I mean, people remember that, but like that still isn't haunting over Penn State to this day. I mean, like I think people have kind of gotten over that, but that was a huge scandal too when that came out.
Right, and that's the thing is like all these Michigan fans that are crying and being like, oh well, they're conspiring against Harbaugh. They want him gone. Blah blah blah. It's like, well, yeah, Harbaugh's given them every reason to want to have to suspend him from coaching college football. He's given them so many reasons, just over the last year, and it's just like, if this was any other program, these fans would be wanting that coach's head on a stick. It's just ridiculous to me, man. And really, I'm calling out every Michigan fan who's like this, who's crying. He's like, oh no, Jim Harbaugh's a saint. He can't do anything wrong. Like, grow up, be an adult, have a conversation, and accept the truth.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, I don't know, man. It's ridiculous, but that's enough on that. We'll see what comes of it. Obviously the Big Ten warned Michigan State today, saying, "Hey, Michigan might know what plays you're calling before you even call them." Things like that. A bunch of teams compile, I guess, a bunch of evidence, including teams that they that allegedly did it last year. There's some stuff that Rutgers head coach said during a halftime interview, basically saying something's not right out there. So there's a lot of things that point to Michigan being very guilty in this. So yeah, I don't know. We don't know if anything's truthful at all. It could be a big distraction for all we know. But it's all apparently teams that Michigan's already played that submitted all this evidence to the NCAA. And Michigan's allegedly supposed to receive that either this week or next week to know, hey, this is the evidence we have against you, all that. But the other question I have for you about this is just like Michigan's good enough to not even need to do this. Why would they do this against like an East Carolina who's one of the schools that is alleging that Michigan did this, and Rutgers is another one who we all think at least is do you really think that Michigan is good enough to have even needed to do this? And like I don't even know how to phrase this question to you, but it's just like, why would Michigan even bother trying to do this against this very, very soft schedule?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it kind of just goes back to the idea that if you can do it and not get caught, I mean, you're just going to keep doing it. I mean, it's like if you were taking a test at school and you cheated and you get away with it. I mean, even if you know, say, a subject better than the other subject that you were doing, I mean, if you got away with it before, you're going to keep doing it. I guess maybe in that context, they thought that, no matter what, even in like these easy games, they'll still have an advantage, or that why change something up game to game? Maybe then they'll catch on to something if we just keep doing the same thing. Maybe nothing will happen. So I guess that's the only thing I can really think of why they were doing it against such bad teams.
Yeah, it's possible, but I just don't know, man. But you kind of go back because apparently it's one of the schools that have reported this against Michigan is a team that they played last year. We don't know who, but part of me thinks it's Ohio State because, look, it was almost like if you watched last year's the game, it was almost like Michigan had like the perfect play for whatever Ohio State was doing on both sides of the ball. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and it looks like they've been doing that a lot this year, despite not playing that well in the first 4 games of the season. So part of me kind of is putting things together. It's kind of a tinfoil hat moment for me still, but because we don't know what's true or not. But it kind of just makes you think, man. Um, so yeah, uh, that kind of wraps up that subject. There'll be more on this, I'm sure, in upcoming episodes. But for now, we're just gonna kind of leave it as that. I just want to touch on something though in the NHL, man. Um, there's been a lot of penalty shots taken already this year. In the first week, well, I guess 8 days of NHL regular season, we've had 8 penalty shots taken so far, and and Andrew Kopp for the Detroit Red Wings in 2 games in a row has had 2 penalty shots, or 1 penalty shot in each game. Um, my thing is though is that usually you don't see a penalty shot on things if the player was able to get a shot off. Usually if the penalty happens before the player even takes a shot, then you get the penalty shot. But a lot of these penalty shots have been played so far. We've had 8 so far this year. At this time last year, just a week into the season, we only had 3.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is going to keep up. I don't know if the NHL is kind of putting pressure on the refs to have more penalty shots. I don't know if this is going to keep up though, because I know goalies really hate penalty shots. But I kind of wondered, man. It's just like, is the NHL trying to get more penalty shots in the game, or are they just trying to, police these penalties on these defensive plays where guys are getting tripped up on breakaways or whatever? I'm almost wondering if they're just trying to enforce it, but they're not enforcing it the right way, especially because guys are getting shots off too on these shots, so they shouldn't be penalty shots. They should just be a power play. So, yeah, I don't know. I know you don't keep up a whole lot with the NHL, but I wondered, do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'm just kind of curious how it's going to play out the rest of the season. I mean, maybe it's just an oddity that it just happened so early on. Maybe it'll start calming down. Maybe they'll take a look into some of the things that are going on. But yeah, we'll see, I guess, just how they want to deal with it moving forward.
And just for context, at this point last year, we obviously had 3. The longest stretch in any 7-day period of penalty shots last year was 5 games in a 7-day period, or five different penalty shots that we had in any given 7-day period. So at the rate the NHL has given out these penalty shots so far, I mean we're set to have well over 200 penalty shots taken at the end of the year, which would be insane. But yeah, I just don't know if this is gonna last. I wonder if the NHL's trying to just police things a little differently. But at least so far, it seems consistent with the reffing, which was a big problem last year. So yeah, that's all I really want to touch on the NHL so far. With that, but I know we got some baseball to talk about, so I'm gonna let you take over.
Yeah, so I mean, MLB playoffs, man, have been electric so far, especially in the ALCS and the NLCS. A lot of big things to talk about here. So we have the Battle of Texas here with Texas Rangers and Houston Astros, and Texas went up 2-0 to start the series. Houston just won last night, and they're playing right now currently as well. So the Astros are up 3-1 right now, so we'll see if they can tie it up. But man, Texas, like I said at the start with the playoffs, is Texas was a dark horse, man. I thought that they had a really good team. Corey Seager, Marcus Semien, they have a lot of good hitters. Jordan Montgomery for pitching has stood out a lot. Scherzer coming back as well, so I think that Texas is really great. I mean, what do you think about the ALCS? Do you think that Texas is going to win it?
It's bottom of the second, so anything can happen right now with the Rangers. I know they're down 3-1. I would like to see the Rangers win this. I'm tired of the Astros winning, man. I'm pretty sure most people are. But the Rangers have been playing a lot of good ball lately. Obviously, the last game they didn't really look all too good. But I think this series is still going to go all 7 games. There's just I think it's going to be very close. I think Texas though will pull it out. But so far, man, it's been a very good battle between these two teams. The Rangers pitching has been pretty solid so far. Obviously, Marcus Semien, he's been really good just the entire playoffs, and same with Corey Seager.
Mm-hmm.
But Houston has some dogs, man, and they've been playing some really good baseball. Um, well, actually today, and then in the last game they were playing some pretty good baseball. The rest of the series, the earlier games of the series, not so much, but they've taken a big step forward in the last game or so. But I want to mention the NLCS here. Is coming into today, Arizona was backs against the wall, and they ended up beating Philly 2-1. I wanted to touch on that because the Diamondbacks were a really good story. I had Philly winning this series. I didn't think it'd be a blowout or a sweep at least. But Philly has looked really good. But Arizona, back against the wall. They're down 2-0 in the series with a very nice win today. I think who started pitching for Arizona? I think it was
Today
yeah, it was Fad.
yeah.
So yeah, he played a pretty good game today. So very very solid game from Arizona today. In a back against the wall situation. Just what get your thoughts on that game today?
Yeah, so Arizona man definitely came back. Tel Marte, big game. He had the walk-off hit. He had 3 hits in the game, so he definitely carried a lot of that offense. So, but speaking about offense, man, the Phillies. I mean, I know they didn't do much today, but man, that offense has been rolling all of the playoffs, man, all postseason. All of the hitters have been just hitting tons of home runs.
Castellanos, man.
Castellanos had back-to-back multiple home run games in the postseason. The Phillies, I think, were like one of the top teams for home runs in the postseason. And the postseason, there's still a lot more games left already, so they have a lot of explosive fire on offense. And Zach Wheeler and Aaron Nola have been great for them, but the Diamondbacks today, man, they pulled it out. I think that this one has a potential of possibly going 7 as well, maybe 6. I do think Philadelphia is going to win this series, but it is a great story for Arizona, man. They were horrible last year, and this year they've pretty much turned the whole team around. Corbin Carroll is for sure runaway NL Rookie of the Year. They had a lot of good pieces that have been playing well, and I think that they might be the new team in the NLS, man. With the Dodgers just choking every year, Diamondbacks might be that new team to watch in that division.
Yeah, they might be, especially if they keep playing the way they've been playing. As a very bad strike was just called against Jace Jung, but it is what it is there. But yeah, I mean, I think Philly's gonna win this series. They have the team to do it. They have a ton of experience, a lot more than what the Diamondbacks have. A very young team. Phillies have a team loaded with veterans who've been there before. So, yeah, Diamondbacks with a very nice game today. Should be interesting. And, the Astros Rangers, man, I really hope Texas wins this one. But, I don't know. I think this one definitely goes 7, though, the Battle of Texas.
Yeah, I hope so too, man. It's gonna be close.
So I'm picking a Texas Philadelphia World Series here, but it'll be interesting to see what happens. Obviously, there's a lot going on still. Have a lot more baseball to go, man. But I think that just wraps up everything that we had for today, man. You got anything else you would like to add?
Yeah. So I guess for next week, me and Andrew have kind of talked about since we have something kind of going on and we won't be able to film Thursday's episode here. On Thursday, we're talking about either doing either one big episode on Tuesday or
filming 2 episodes back to back on Tuesday here. So I guess let us know if you have any strong opinions on that. If you want to see either or, we're definitely still trying to see what would be the best format for that. But yeah, we're still going to be here for the podcast in the future here with baseball ramping up, with the World Series coming around, and football. We're starting to get to the exciting points, the midway point. It's going to start picking up. College football as well. It's going to be exciting time. Basketball is coming back soon. Hockey's already back, so it's going to be a good time in sports, man.
Yeah, and like you said, we're getting to the the midpoint of the season. We're coming up to the trade deadline of the NFL, so there's going to be a ton to talk about in next week. Actually, I think is trade deadline might be next week, if I remember correctly. This is week 7. No, so not Monday. The Monday after though, trade deadline. Um, that would be that'd be the day before Halloween. So yeah, lots to talk about there, especially with that trade deadline coming up. Who's your buyers? Who's your sellers? There's gonna be a ton to talk about there, leading up to it as well. So yeah. That said, rate, review, subscribe, do all that, help us out. And yeah, we will see you guys on Tuesday.